another round of tough talks today, tough talk, I should say, from German Chancellor Angela Merkel saying Germany won't help bail out Greece until Athens shows it has a sustainable, credible plan to cut its budget deficit. Our next guest says Greece is playing chicken over the bailout. Constance Hunter is chief economist at Galtere International, and she's working on a book called Too Big to Bail: What Happens When Entitlement Costs Become Too Much for Large Countries with Aging Populations. And I'm guessing Greece is a great example of that. Yes. Constance, thanks for coming on the show.
You're welcome.
Let's talk first of all about the developments that we saw today, because not only did Angela Merkel say she wants to see a plan, she also wants the IMF to work out a plan with them. She wants the markets to get behind Greece. Greece is asking the markets, please get behind us, or else the EU won't, and the IMF has to first anyway. I mean, it seems like a lot has to get done for this, just this first $60 billion bailout plan to get through.
I don't think you're going to see the markets get behind Greece until the IMF and the EU do. So if that's how the game of chicken goes down, I don't think it's going to end in a very nice way, and I don't really think that's how it's going to happen. Germany has elections on May 9th. And that week after May 9th is really the week when something has to get done, because the week after, on May 19th, that's the date when Greece has a rollover. So they roll over 8.2 billion euros of debt, and they make a coupon payment of 2.2 billion euros. Okay, and if they don't get a package before then, they're really not going to be able to do that.
Right.
And let's say they could. Let's say that they can pay their coupon, but they're going to roll over at a really big penalty. Is it 200 basis points? Is it 600 basis points? Nobody knows, but they're not going to roll over at current rates. Rates are going to keep going up.
So their coupon gets more and more expensive to pay, and that's tough for them to meet anyway, right? You say their payments are basically half of their revenues already.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. They have what I call the trifecta of doom, right? So they have the high budget deficit, right? It's 14% of GDP, very high. We know Maastricht criterion is 3. Now, nobody's there. Actually, the only country that's meets the Maastricht criterion right now is Finland. So it's not looking so good for Maastricht. Right. But so you have the high budget deficit. You have the high debt level, so 130% of GDP. But the other thing that's really critical, that's highly problematic, is their debt service payments are about 50% of their budget costs.
It's tremendous.
Tremendous. So it's like as if you had a credit card and you're just paying off the minimum every month. You're never making a dent in principal.
So will they ever make a dent in their principal, in your view, based on what we're kind of hearing right now? Or can they?
Here's the situation. Over the next 18 months, they have 60 billion euros that they have to roll over or pay coupons on. That's the package size that we're talking about. Now, there are a lot of people, and
which is more, we should point out, than the EU package is worth.
Yes, yes. I mean, but when you add in that's the total package with the IMF and the EU and the ECB all together. It probably needs to be more like 90, and if you look at their curve, the problematic part starts in 2012 when the market's only when the interest rates, the yield's now 13%, because that's when they're not covered by.
These numbers kind of freak me out. I mean, so should the markets be a lot more nervous about how this potentially plays out? And we're just talking about Greece, because everybody's wondering, okay, who else is next? Is it Spain? Is it Italy? I mean, who else?
Right. Well, and the next, Spain has, and I have it right here.
And you just were in Spain. I know, because we're Facebook friends.
And what did you find?
Very briefly. I was very briefly in Spain. But here's the thing about Spain. In July, they have a $17 billion rollover and a $7 billion coupon.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And they're looking at problems that are similar to those of Greece.
Similar, but they don't have the trifecta of doom. So they have high budget deficit. They have high debt, not as high. Their debt's only about 70% of GDP, and they do not have this huge amount of budget comprised of debt payments.
We've got about 15 seconds. So kind of cut to the chase first. I mean, so then what's the takeaway from all this? I mean,
the takeaway is the next 2 weeks are going to be really messy. I think you're going to see yields move out further. I think you're going to see the euro weaken, and it all comes down to, I think at the end, the game of chicken, everybody gets in line and we'll do a package for Greece, and that will be a Band-Aid. Now, once that Band-Aid gets put on, is the wound healing underneath? That we're going to find out on an incremental basis.
It's going to take a while to find that out.
Kick the can, as Brinjo likes to say.
Kick the can. That's what we keep hearing. Hey, Constance, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Constance Hunter at Galtere International.